Namah Purvaya Giraye Paschimaya Draye Namaha Jyotirgananam Pataye Dinadhipataye Namaha. So verse 16. So what we have here, we have about 5 namas here, 4 namas. Om Purvaya Giraye Namaha, Om Paschimaya Draye Namaha, Om Jyotirgananam Pataye Namaha, Om Dinadhipataye Namaha. So here we are propitiating the sun god during the morning and the evening and during the day. Usually Sandhya Vandanam is done facing the Surya Bhagavan in whichever direction he is. So during the day, in the morning, when the sun is rising, just before the sun is rising, you face the eastern direction and you do Vandanam. Then during the day, you do Madhyanikam. Madhyanikam is when the sun is right upon the top. And in the evening, it's done facing the west, again facing the setting sun. Paschimaya Namaha. So the way this the verses come out is, I offer. See, even today, when you ask a small child to draw the sun, how does a child draw it? It will draw 2 mountains and then it will draw sun in the middle with rays coming out. So it's always perceived, beauty is perceived when the Surya is arising from behind the mountains, right? Somehow that in our mind, we think that that is a beautiful expression of the sun rising, which is you've got mountains and you've got the sun rising from there. So in the mornings, you see the Surya rising from behind the sun. In the evening, he sets behind in the mornings, you see the sun rising behind the mountains. In the evening, you see him set behind the other mountains, right? So what you're also doing in the process of offering Vandana to Surya Bhagavan, you're also offering it to the mountains. Like how before going into the temple, before going into the main deity, all the other smaller other deities also who come before the main deity, we offer our salutations, including Jaya Vijaya, who are the Dwarapalaka. We offer them an obeisance and then we go in. Because just by being in the presence or in the association of divinity, being in the association of the divine presence, everything else gets the same quality. It is like even in our the Panchakosha Viveka, where we go through the process of, there is a work written as Panchadashi by Swami Vidyaranya Muni, an excellent Vedantic work. So in that, there is a chapter where he talks about the Panchakosha Viveka. So he talks about the Annamaya Kosha, the Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha. So there are 5 layers above what we call as Atma or consciousness, that is a singular entity. There are 5 layers above, in front of that, or above that, or around that, which creates this identity, this individual identity, right? So this individual identity is not created because of Atma, because Atma is one, singular. There are no 2. Advitiyam. So this is the layers on top of it: Anandamaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Annamaya Kosha. These 5 koshas, koshas mean sheath or layers, avarana. Avarnath. Because of them, there is an identity that is received. That there is an identity that is obtained, an individual identity. So in this, the Anandamaya Kosha is also not the Atma. The way it is described in the work is that Anandamaya Kosha is called as Ananda because it is the closest to that entity which is Atma, pure consciousness. It's the closest. But it's still not the consciousness. It's a layer on top of it. And by mere presence, that layer is the closest to Atma, that Anandamaya Kosha, or the causal body. If you look at the three bodies, the Shariratraya, the Sthula Sukshma Karana, Anandamaya Kosha belongs to the Sukshma, the Karana Sharira, the causal body, where the Vasanas are resting. That being the closest to the Atma, or the consciousness, pure consciousness, it is Ananda. It is like the Ananda that you receive in deep sleep. In deep sleep, we are completely in a blissed out state. Deep sleep. Not while you're dreaming, not while you're trying to sleep, not while you're daydreaming. No. In deep sleep, you're blissed out completely. That in that blissed out state, we do not recognize that I am this Satchidananda Swarupa Atma. No. We are blissed out unconsciously, but we are blissed out. Only when we wake up, we recognize it. So this Anandamaya Kosha is that state, or that layer, or that sheath in which we dissolve when we are in the Karana Sharira state, or the deep sleep state. Sushupti Avastha. Now, why is that called as Anandamaya? Because Atma is supposed to be Satchidananda. Right? Satchidananda, Atma is a Satchidananda, Atma, Satchidananda Swarupa is Atma. That is how it is described. Now, this obtains, the Anandamaya Kosha being the closest to the Atma, it obtains the property of Ananda of the Atma, and hence it's called the Anandamaya Kosha, by being very close to that. So in the same way, any substance that is the closest to this divine principle, this entity or consciousness, it obtains a certain position of respect, a certain position of reverence, a certain position of sanctity, all of this, just by being in presence of that divine principle. In the same way, right? In the same way, Surya Bhagavan is rising from between the mountains. He's setting between the mountains. The mountains now obtain that reverence because it is giving way for Surya Bhagavan, and it is associated. When you're prostrating to Surya Bhagavan, you're also prostrating to the mountains. So, Namah Purvaya Giraye Paschimaya Namaha. I'm prostrating down to both. அதுதான் நிறைய தடவை if you see மகாபெரிவாவோடலாம் சுத்தி இருக்கிறவாளுக்கும் ரொம்ப நம்ம we have to bow down to them. Those who keep serving the masters, we have to also in Vishishtadvaitam it is said dasa dasosmi. I am the dasa of the Lord. I am the dasa, or the servant, or the bhakta, of whom, not of the Lord. I am the bhakta of the Lord. So if you see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on the streets doing Nama Sankirtana, people will fall at his feet, because for them they are Pratyaksham. He is Pratyaksha Narayana. So a lot of this, a lot of this paraphernalia of the divine principle that are associated. In fact, for Narayana, there are called Pancha Vyuha. For Narayana, there are 5 vyuhas that are associated with him. And those vyuhas are Shankha, Chakram, Gada, all of these. They are also prayed to. The one is Adisesha, one is Jaya, Vijaya. So all of these things that go along with the divine principle are also worshipped. They're worshipped in the form of Pancha Vyuha. So in the same way here, Surya Bhagavan gets this association, is associating himself with the mountains. Hence the mountains get the reverence. And then Jyotirgananam Pataye, Dinadhipataye Namaha. He is the one who is revered by all Gana. All the Gana means all the people who are Jyotihi, who have attained to Jyotihi. So those people who have attained to Jyotihi are people who are enlightened. Excuse me. So even such people prostrate to you, O Surya.
Literal Jyotirganasna and the stars mentioned. So the king of stars.
Amama. So he is also the king of stars. So that way he is the lord of all stars. And also, if we look at it, the Gana that have attained to Jyoti. It's another way of looking at it.
Much deeper interpretation.
So the Ganas or Janangal or the people or the population, those who have attained to Jyotihi, Gananam, so those people also prostrate to you. And you are their Lord, which means you are their Lord, means they pay their obeisance to you. Dinadhipataye Namaha. Dinadhipataye. Dina Adhipataye. Din Adhipataye. Dina is day. He is the Lord of the day. So that is the 16th verse. Om Namah Purvaya Giraye Paschimaya Namaha Jyotirgananam Pataye Dinadhipataye Namaha Om Purvaya Giraye Namaha Om Paschimaya Namaha Om Jyotirgananam Pataye Namaha Om Dinadhipataye Namaha. 17. Jayaya Jaya Bhadraya Haryashvaya Namo Namaha Namo Namah Sahasramsho Aradityaya Namo Namaha. Jayaya Jayaya Namaha Om Jayaya Namaha Om Jaya Bhadraya Namaha Om Haryashvaya Namaha Om Sahasramshave Namaha Om Adityaya Namaha Om Jayaya Namaha Om Jaya Bhadraya Namaha. So Jayaya Namaha, he is the one who is victorious. He is the cause of all victory. Which means if he is wherever his presence is, there is victory. Wherever his presence is, there is victory. How does this, what does it mean to me? Wherever we invoke the presence of the divine, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha, Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhute Dhruva Nitirma Tirmama. Wherever you invoke Lord Krishna, there you will find victory. Right? So what it means here is he is Jayaya Namaha. But what it means to us is if you want to be victorious, what it means to be victorious at various levels. You want to be victorious in the activities or transactions of the world, which means whatever sankalpa you have made, you want to be able to achieve that sankalpa. That is victorious. And this sankalpa could be in anything. It could be in the realm of office. It could be in the realm of your house, your home. It could be in the realm of your relationships. It could be in the realm of your aspirations, general aspirations. It could be in the realm of your inner victory that you're trying to achieve. Right? the yama niyama that you're trying to uphold. So the inner battle is also constantly going, right? There's constant conflict inside. Priyaji was telling at the start, கோவப்படக்கூடாதுன்னு தெரியறது, நான் கோவப்பட்டுறேன், அதுக்கப்புறம் ஐயோ பட்டுட்டேனே அப்படின்னு யோசிக்கிறேன். This, all of us go through this. The guilt, we carry this guilt. I shouldn't have done this, and then while doing, we lose our sense of consciousness that I am doing it, and then we end up doing it, and then later we fall into guilt, saying, "Ayyo, I did it." So this is also conflict, certain conflict. Now, I'm not saying whether you're doing is wrong or later feeling about is wrong. Essentially, we are in conflict. How do you dissolve this conflict? This is also a battle that's constantly going in. How should I be? How should I be? What is the right way to be? What is the right thing to do? Am I doing the right thing? Should I be doing this? Should I be not be doing this? I should have done it this way. Maybe I shouldn't have done it. All of that, this churn that is going on. So the moment you invoke the presence of the divine, there is victory. Right? What kind of victory? There are two kinds of victories. One is either everything becomes clear to you, which means you know exactly what to do, or everything drops, which means you don't care about thinking. The whole process of thinking, the whole conflict drops, which means you become an open instrument to whatever happens. That is also victory. Like my guru says, the greatest realization is when all questions drop. Not necessarily when all questions get answered. It's when all the questions drop, that is also a realization. Which means those questions don't hold any sway over you anymore. Right? So that is also victory. So you invoke the divine presence. Like today, Kalpakaji sang. கடைசியில் என்ன வந்தது மாது? சிவம் நாமம் சொல்லி பழகு. சிவம் நாமம் சொல்லி பழகு. Papanasam Shivam says that, right? Papanasam Shivan in his song, என்ன பாடுது? நம்பி கெட்டவர் எவர் ஐயா. Very beautiful song. So in this he says, Shivam namam solli palagu, which means you practice. Through practice, you create new sankalpas within you. New sankalpas where you're constantly inviting and invoking the divine presence in your life, in your activities, in your thoughts, in your deeds. In everything that you're doing, you're invoking the divine presence. So the more and more you invoke, Jayaya Namaha, that is victory. Victory not necessarily in the way we possibly would have defined victory, that everything that I think or do should happen that way. No. Victory means a certain lack of conflict within. Mahabharata, the text Mahabharata has another name. Do you know what that name is?
Panchama Veda.
Panchama Veda is just because it has a lot of knowledge within it, but it is called Jaya. The other name of Mahabharata is also Jaya, the text. So Jaya is always in the space where there is some kind of a conflict between two opposing ends, and you emerge out victorious. Correct? That is Jaya. And it's Jaya when the conflict resolves. When the conflict resolves altogether, that is also Jaya. So remember, when you invoke the divine presence, it may so happen that you may have designed things in a way, and it appadi nadandada only if it happens in that way means I'm victorious nu kadayadu. The conflict within you dissolves is also victory. And we should be willing to receive that knowledge and that understanding So that is also Jaya. So Jaya Namaha, maybe invoke. And then what he brings? He brings Jaya Bhadra. Bhadra means auspiciousness. Bhadram karnebhi shrunayama devaha. Bhadram pashyemam kshabhirya jatraha. Sthirairangai stushtuva gumsastanubhi. Vyashema deva hitam yadayuhu. This is the Atharvana Veda oda Mangala Shloka. Shanti Patha. Bhadram karnebhi shrunayama devaha. Bhadram. So Bhadram is auspiciousness. Subhadra, marla per bepala. Actually, Bhadrakali, although it is a very fierce form of the Devi, it is Bhadrakali, which means it's a Kali that bestows auspiciousness. Mangalam. Bhadramna Mangalam nartham. So Bhadrakali.
மீனாட்சி கோவில்ல உள்ள போன உடனே 2 பெரிய ஸ்டாச்சுஸ் இருக்கு. ஒண்ணு வந்து வீரபத்ரர், ஒண்ணு வந்து பத்ரகாளி. First
In the
மீனாட்சி கோவில்ல.
Oh, Madura Meenakshi. Okay. Okay. Very nice. So when you get that kind of victorious Jayaya, you also are bestowed with auspiciousness, Jaya Bhadraya. Which means when I get that, when that victory is offered to me, I should also be able to recognize, understand, and enjoy that victory. A lot of people also go through this problem in life, right? You may prayed for something. There is one of my colleagues in one of the, we've gone for a general conference and somebody just asked a question. What is happiness for you? So my colleague, the person was organizing, he pointed at my colleague and asked, what is happiness for you? He said, happiness is when I get something that I want when I want it. Very simple, right? When I want something, I should get that at that time. Well, a lot of times what happens to us, we pray, we ask, we want, but it comes at some other point in time. And then people around will also say, Nidana kete, vandadu paru. Na ippo kekaliye. Na eppo ketadu. I asked for it a long time ago, but I'm getting it now. What is the point? That is also important. That, see, the grace to be able to receive that grace is also important. That when you receive, when you're asking for whatever reason, because you are the human tendency to ask, and with all genuinity you go and ask. But when you receive, we should be able to receive it. Right? A lot of times we fall into this problem of not being able to receive because you are not prepared at that time. You are probably in a very different situation or condition than when you asked for it. You would have prayed for a 3-storied building when you're 25 years old. At the age of 60, you somehow figure out and you get a 3-storied building. Muttila, arthritis. நீ கேட்டதானடா கொடுத்தேன். These are problems, right? But so important is that Jaya Bhadra, that must be the ability to receive that blessing also. We require that grace. Om Jayaya Namaha, Om Jaya Bhadraya Namaha, Om Haryashvaya Namaha, Om one who possesses horses, reddish brown colored horses. Generally, these are horses these horses are supposed to be race horses. Haryashvaya. They're used for racing. They're really good steed, good breed of steed, which are typically bred to run really fast. So one way of looking at this could be that the ability to deliver what we desire for, or blessings or grace to us. Surya Bhagavan has got the best steed, he's got the best horses, he's got the best vehicles, so that without any delay he can come and deliver grace to us. It's just a figurative way of looking at it, which means there's a saying, you take one step, God takes 10 steps or 9 steps, whatever. Which means that divine entity or principle is ever ready to bestow that grace. So it's always our doing of not being able to open ourselves enough to grace. Right? So he says that he is Haryashvaya, means he is somebody who's very anxiously waiting and anxiously ever ready to bestow grace. Sahasramshuhu, Sahasramshave Namaha, Sahasra Amsha, Rashmi Mate Namaha. We saw, right? Rashmi Mate, rays. He's got many rays. In the same way, Sahasra Amsha, the rays are actually parts of him. Sahasra Amsha. Amsha means these are parts. These are 1,000 parts of him that keeps going out from him. See, it's very, actually, when you look at it, Kalpaka is saying, interestingly, there's also the phrase holding your horses. So probably it means that he helps us seek victory with discrimination, that it won't last forever as well. Sorry, Ma, can you explain that? No, I didn't follow what you're saying.
Like, even when you're victorious, you don't no, jump up and down. You know that,
Okay.
it's only a temporal thing.
Okay. You're saying hold your horses. Yeah, which is why we are saying victory is not necessarily the victory that is of obtaining or procuring something. The victory of the mind, victory of so the victory essentially is of when you're victorious, means there is no conflict inside. There is no battle inside anymore. Right? So that kind of victory we are seeking. The Sahasramsho is his parts, which means he is the one who is giving out himself in service of in the service of creation. Which means it's not that he has created and put it one side and then he's gone. I'm saying he in terms of personalizing the personalizing the divine entity. We're saying it was not like it created and it left the creation out there and then it went off. It's not that way. It is involved in creation by offering its own amsha, its own sahasra amsha, 1,000 rays, 1,000 parts of itself is constantly, it is offering itself. And by offering itself, it is present and it is available to us for access. Somebody went to Ramana Maharshi and asked him, Bhagavane, arul kudungo, give me grace. So Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says, Arul தான்ப்பா இருக்கு, நீ நடுவுல வராம இருந்தா போறோம். Whatever that is there is grace. All you have to do is you don't come in between. So when there is grace flowing, and I remember this is a very personal experience I had in Nanganallur. I remember sharing this earlier. This Nanganallur Anjaneya temple. It's a 35-40 feet Anjaneya, one of the largest Anjaneya, and he's so tall and so towering and imposing. And they have a vasal, they have a door which they open in the morning, and after in the evening they again open it. So they close it during the Ardha Jama. In the afternoon they close, and then they open it again in the evening prayer time. It's very beautiful to be there the time they open the door. So when you're standing there, and just visualize this whole huge towering Anjaneya standing there with all his grace and might. And he's standing there just to offer himself to all those who look up to him, right? It's literally you're looking up to him like that. And when you stand there, when the door is about to open, just visualize that grace like a flood or water or rain showering from there. So when the door opens and you see that complete grace and rays, Sahasramshu, so the whole grace flows like that, and then you can actually get overwhelmed. You can get overwhelmed by this. The same experience when you go to Tirupati also, when you get pushed, and you come to the altar where you see Govinda, Narayana, and then you Govinda, Govinda, they all shout, and then out of nowhere, suddenly you'll have tears. You'll have goosebumps. For a moment, you will see him. So what happens, now coming back to this example of Nanganallur Anjaneya, when that is opened and then suddenly there is so much of grace that is falling, a thought occurred to me at that time, thinking that, Lord, you are showering your grace unconditionally to everybody who's there. Like a torrential rain. Now, what if I choose to put a raincoat, a full raincoat, cover myself, put an umbrella? Finished. Whatever grace you shower will be of no use to me. Because now I've put a nice full wind cheater, put the cover, but I put cap, I put a umbrella and everything I keep. The whole process there of receiving grace is gone. I'm just saying, as a metaphorical this thing, if you think of it that way, which is what we do. Going back to what Ramana says, saying you don't come in between. Grace is always there. Correct. So that ego, Raghu, தெலுங்குல ego அப்படின்னு சொல்லணும். Tamil Telugu, E means this. So it's a ego. So in that sense, Sahasramshuhu, that the grace of the divine principle, he is spreading himself everywhere. Adityaya Namaha, Om Adityaya Namaha, one who gives rays of light as he rises, son of Aditi. So as he rises in the east, his rays come out first. His rays come out first, which means it is almost like he's so eager to reach out. When a father is running towards its child, or the son is running towards the father, before the father or the son, they come together, their hands come together because they're running towards each other, right? Which means they're eager to stretch out. They're eager to stretch out themselves so that they can they're anxious to stretch out themselves so that they can come in contact with each other very soon. So in the same way, Aditya is trying to reach out with his rays. So before he comes out, he's sending out his rays in a way of reaching out to everybody, saying, yes, I am there, I'm there, I'm there, coming for you. You know, these are nice, beautiful, poetic visualizations we can keep. See, because what happens is some of these nice visualizations creates devotion in our heart. Right? Otherwise, there's nobody really coming up and running towards you, right? It's not like that. It's just that if you think that this has been created for me, all of this beautiful thing, because forget people around you. Because when you go to sleep, nobody is there. Correct? You move a little bit here and there, person sleeping beside you will also get up and go, saying, you're too much a disturb. So there's literally nobody around you. You're all by yourself. So when you're all by yourself, can we just think that this whole creation is just for me? The grace, that compassion, there's so much compassion in this divine entity that it's created me and made me conscious enough to experience and enjoy this. Then devotion starts developing. There's no way, no other way to be, right? You just have to be in awe of all that is created, because it's been created for you. Every individual, you just close your eyes and you think it's just you who's sitting here. It is just you. There's nobody else. Others are all out there in your perception somewhere. You're perceiving, right? It's like nature, like a mountain. There's a tree. There are people. There's ocean. There are things around you, and there are people. That's all. Everything else are objects, including people, are objects outside, which has been created for you, so that you can go through the experience of joy, sorrow, happiness, misery, guilt, anxiety, being excited. All of this, all of the whole varied experiences that you go through have been tailor-made and created for you. It could be through people, through situations, through the environment, whatever. So think of all of this being created for you, and then all of these are bestowing their compassion, grace over you. So when we start looking at it like this now, so Aditya, the sun is rising, and he is literally rising for me, so that I may have a beautiful morning, I may have a beautiful day, I may have a beautiful experience today. So when you think of that, automatically mindly, the first thing that will come is gratitude. And when you start your day with gratitude, what can go wrong? Right? You start your day with gratitude, nothing can really go wrong. Because you have now tuned yourself in a way to receive grace. The moment you become grateful, grace is waiting to gush into you. Reiki preaches attitude of gratitude. Correct. So that's how you begin, right? Beautiful. So we did 16 and 17 today.
Interestingly, they thank the divine light and ask for that light to fill us. It's very
What's that, ma?
relevant here. இல்ல அவ வந்து அந்த டிவைன் லைட் அந்த ஒயிட் லைட்ட தான் அது இன்வோக் இல்லையா
Correct.
அந்த பிரின்சிபல் தானே and அது I think it's very relevant here if you think of sun as that source of the white light
Which is trying
you
to
were asking for that light to flow through you and flow on to others, heal everyone's pains and sufferings, and it's very
absolutely
good.
absolutely
So like that.
correct. No, you're absolutely right. Absolutely. No, you're right. You're right. Absolutely. So that's a beautiful visualization where you really, and you make these things as your reality, that the light from Surya Bhagavan is coming into me, coming onto me, coming into me and flooding me completely with its grace.
Yeah, also they actually talk about that the point in your உச்சந்தலையில அந்த சஹஸ்ராரான்லாம் நம்ம சொல்றோம் I think they just அந்த இதுல இருந்து தான் the light enters. Then very similar to what we've been talking about.
True. Okay, so we close with 17th one. Om Purvaya Giraye Namaha. Om Paschimaya Namaha. Om Jyotirgananam Pataye Namaha. Om Jayaya Namaha. Om Jayabhadraya Namaha. Om Haryashvaya Namaha. ओम सहस्रांशवे नमः. ओम ஆதித்யாய நமः. 90 வரைக்கும் வந்தாச்சு நம்ம அப்போ. ஓம் காயேன வாச்சா மனசேந்திரியைர்வா புத்தியாத்மனா வா பிரகிருதே சுபாவாத் करोमि यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि. सदाशिवायेति समर्पयामि. जगदम्बिकायै इति समर्पयामि. सद्गुरुनाथायेति समर्पयामि. हरि ओम तत्सद्गुरुभ्यो नमः. देवा.